Hello!
Hi! Welcome back to the official Cat's Eye Reaction channel.
Today we're kind of reacting, but kind of not. We've already watched the documentary, and we just want to talk about, like, the entire series and our thoughts on it, because it was crazy.
Yeah. First of all, we're in it.
Oh my god, yeah. So it was so crazy. I was watching, like, the first 4 episodes. I was like, I'm gonna stop now, because it was, like, midnight. And then as soon as I went on my phone, someone commented being like, bro, you're in the documentary. And I was like, what do you mean? Then I had to watch the whole thing until 4 a.m.
And then I watched it, but I was jet lagged, so I was like kind of half asleep. I didn't think I was in it. And then we just watched it just now.
Yeah.
You guys, what the fuck? Allie literally watched the last episode already, and me and Henry haven't seen it. We didn't think that their finale reaction was in the video. Play it again, play it again.
The top pick is Megan.
So thanks for including us in the documentary.
And you're welcome for the content.
And next time, credit.
Yeah. And next time, Sydney too.
I was literally asleep in the background during the finale. I was like waking up. I was like, who made it in the group, guys?
But if you guys like were on our channel since like the beginning of Dream Academy, you'd know we were all watching it, but I was like reacting to it on the videos. We've all kind of been there since the beginning, so like to watch this documentary, like first of all, it's so interesting to watch what's been happening behind the scenes, but we've also got like a big connection. Oh, because the reason we started watching it is because we saw them at Lotte World.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
We bumped into them. And I'd seen like TikToks and whatever and seen a few of things, and I was like, maybe I'll watch this. And then we saw them in person.
Yeah.
So I remember like watching when they first got announced. I was watching it like on live or whatever and all their introductions. And then like we just saw them in Korea. We're going to get into it. We just want to talk about our thoughts, and we want to hear your guys' thoughts too. So make sure you comment below if you agree with us, if you don't, if you have anything to say about this.
Also, I'm just say, this is not a space for hate. I don't want to see any hate down below in the comments for anyone. Thank you. Because we are genuinely fans of all of them and of like largely of all the girls who are on the show pretty much.
Not just towards us, because like whatever, but like towards the girls.
Oh, that's what I meant. I don't care. Say what you want to me.
But, like,
I'm a flop. I already know it.
At the end of the day, like this was filmed for 2 years and like we only saw 8 episodes worth of content and it's done and over with. They've worked it out themselves, so like you don't need to come for them over it because they already know, I'm sure.
And they surely all watched it together and probably had their own talk about it, so let them have their own thoughts about it.
Yeah,
Move on. Anyway.
Okay, episode 1.
First of all, I feel like we need to discuss them just not telling the girls that it was a survival show from the beginning.
That's insane. 'Cause I don't even think the company knew they were going to do that, because they just had a bunch of trainees at the beginning, because they didn't announce that till way later. And I was like,
but even from the beginning of the series, like they're talking about it and they're like, yeah, we have all these girls and eventually it's going to turn into a survival show, but we're just not going to tell them that. Like, so funny.
Because it's like, seriously, like if you joined the program, like a training and development program to then become in a group, like that's a specific thing you sign up for. The girls talked about, they were like, oh, like my job is to basically just impress the executives.
Yeah.
And now I have to impress the public. I think I would just feel really betrayed by like the executives to be like, you told me to work towards this specific thing and now I have to work towards something completely different.
Because being chosen by the public and being chosen by executives that know you and know how hard you're working and like so many different factors, it's a whole other game than being like just thrown to the public. And also because they aired it performance, like 5 minutes of behind the scenes versus like what we just watched was like
had this whole concept all this time.
Like literally, I kind of wish that they had aired it as like a show rather than like thing, because I love to watch like and build my opinion of like their personality, their rehearsal videos, their performance, like blah, blah, blah.
I think that was really calculated too, because if they show too much of somebody's personality, it's harder for them to skew it to the group that they want. If like the producers or the companies are already set on certain people and then like you show their personality and they don't come off great, or you show their personality and they come off really great and you don't want them in the group, like it can really skew the way that people vote. So
that's true.
I feel like it was almost a way of them to be like, we control what we're showing to everybody, like before voting happens. Some of the executives, like throughout the show, there were moments that like I really liked them and moments that I really didn't, because the way that they were acting, like we love them so much, like we want to see them succeed, but then like lying to their faces, like it's crazy.
I feel like also you can kind of see where like flew out of their hands, like especially with Missy, like 'cause she was in charge of the whole program, and then once it went public, I think you could see her sort of being like,
Like,
oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Like, I've built these trainees and like done all this, and then it was like fully out of her hand. She's like, almost like a what have I done? Like,
Yeah.
I've like let this bird free and now I can't like catch it.
I don't know, the whole time, like the first couple episodes, how they were just saying like, we don't have enough girls, like we need more girls for their survival show, but they brought people in and then let them go, and then we're like, oh, we need more girls. I thought it was very strange.
Well, because training and development was meant to go on for way longer.
Yeah.
Remember, because then Bang came in was like, we need we need to do this like now.
Yeah.
So like genuinely, I thought they were just gonna like keep bringing new girls in. Which, guys, I'm in slight disbelief that like, hey, I know like a bunch of girls who just like love BTS were like, I'm just gonna audition, and maybe they weren't like that great. But 120,000 people.
They literally couldn't find people.
And you couldn't pick enough people. Like,
I'm sorry.
Insane.
And listen,
like
I'm
7 people at the start or something.
I'm not gonna like name names, but like picking some people who genuinely like didn't have like that much talent out of the 120,000 people. I don't believe that.
Oh.
What do you mean?
Not even 50? Take 100 and then whittle them down. Not take 120, pick 7 and then add random people who didn't even audition.
Yeah.
Like, there was no one talented enough
Yeah.
to make it in that many. Crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
It was really funny how you could see them learning the songs.
Like the final choreo, like they're learning buttons in like episode 2 or something. And they're
And,
like,
like,
oh
in-
my gosh, we're doing buttons! Bitch,
completely
you've been done
different
known.
groups. Like seeing different people do buttons. Like Megan was in buttons
Megan
at
Buttons?
first, and like they were just like all doing different stuff. I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah.
And also, I wonder like what they were telling them it was for.
I definitely think they knew that it was for something in the show, because remember, like there was points where like Megan was like, "Oh, I now have to cover Adela's role." Like that.
Yeah,
was
they've
set.
like learned it
Like
with
roles
Adela.
were set. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Which also, like, spoiler ahead, psychologically, like Adela's role, like Adela thought she was gonna be in it.
Yeah.
You know, and they were like, they took her out, like,
Day of.
because like realistically, if you're saying like, oh, you could be eliminated at any point, then you should learn every single role and just like slot in wherever. But instead, it was like, this is a group of people that were like meant to do it together, you know?
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Them just not knowing too, because obviously there were too many girls. Like they weren't gonna debut a team of like 16 or like a 20 or whatever. So like I'm sure they knew during just like the training and development I could be cut at any point. In their minds, like they don't know anything, so they could have made 2 groups. Like they could have like done this. They could have been training forever and then all been sent home. But like the whole time the staff knew or whatever, like we were only gonna have 6 or just anything like that. Like I almost wish they would have at least told them how many was going to be in it. Because, like, to think this whole time, the girls that were really confident, like, I'm so good, or, like, they like me so much, I'm guaranteed a spot, and then they get sent home.
Yeah.
So sad. That'd be like, so heartbreaking.
Especially imagine if you were, like, an original 2-year-long trainee, and then they were like, we're bringing all these random girls in, and then till it was 20, and they're like, actually, it's gonna be 6. It's like, you already had 6 of us. Why did you add all these other pictures?
You had more than 6.
Yeah.
There was 14 of them, and there was 6 places, and so
They
like
added 6
someone
people.
probably like, okay, yeah, that's fine, and then they brought in more girls, bro. I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
I would have been pissed.
Rough. Also, I personally, maybe this is just me, I like odd-numbered members of groups. Like, I like
Yeah,
5
same.
or 7. I was like, I wish they had a producer pick.
So, if you guys were watching the documentary, someone was like in it a lot. The girl called Naisha, who was like one of the original trainees. Also, there were other trainees that were just never shown.
Never saw. And, like,
So weird.
people that I like kind of know, I've seen them on TikTok or something. I'm like, you? And they just never showed them.
This girl Naisha, she was like relatively like a really strong contender. Like she was really great at
dancer.
dancing.
Great dancer.
Her vocals weren't that great, but she was like, I could tell the judges like kind of liked her enough to like see something in her. Yeah. Then the social media thing came out, which is basically all the girls made private Instagrams or just like had Instagrams and they all had each other like on close friends and were posting stuff, which they definitely would have been brought in and like told off for. But the biggest thing that happened was they were recording an original song and Naisha posted it on the Instagram. And she says, like, very strongly that, like, only the girls who were in the program were on the following list or, like, were available to watch it. However, Missy, which is one of the trainers, was, like, adamant that, like, she saw that other people
That is not the truth, Ellen.
Exactly. I don't know, like, I think it was really sad to see her be let go because she, like, seemed quite strong. Although some other stuff that was brought out after the show, like her comments on Laura's post, I do think in the moment she was a really strong contender, and to, like, let her go, like, just that, like, crazy was a bit wild. However, I do understand that, like,
That's pretty.
You just shouldn't do it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, this is the chance of a lifetime. Like, why would you even, like, try and mess up
Don't
like
risk
that?
it. I think also, to her at the end when she was like, it's my word versus Hollywood's, I was like, what?
Yeah.
But I also think, like, this is maybe controversial. I think they were looking for a reason to cut her because
so too.
she's a really, really great dancer. I think they wanted her to dance a different style. I think she's more like a hip hop dancer, and I think they wanted her to be more like.
That's like, I could see like that she's fully telling the truth and like there weren't other people following. I could also see that like maybe there was one person, like a family member or something, she removed
like
them before she like
eliminated.
screenshotted.
Maybe.
Like either could have happened, but I think it really didn't matter. The fact that they could say like, oh yeah, they all had Instagrams, but you posted the original song, so like we're gonna cut you. Like it was just the fact that they already knew they wanted to let her go. Yeah, she shouldn't have done it. None of the girls should have done it, but like they could have just said, like, you know what, your style doesn't fit what we want, like, we're gonna send you home. Because, like, there were other people they sent home for things like that.
Calling them all into the individual room, having them read out the contract, like, can I have a social media account?
No.
Can I add my friend Missy, whatever? No.
No.
And then having them all read it, I was like, oh my god. Because if they were gonna cut her, they should have cut them all. Or none of them. Like, I get that she did something that was, like, more, I guess, like, a step above. But, like, if that they're eliminating them based on the thing that they signed or whatever that said all those things, they should have cut them all or cut none of them based on that alone, which makes me think that it wasn't just because of that. I think it's because they wanted a reason to cut her.
I understand, like, why she got so upset. And I saw people saying, like, oh, like, she shouldn't have reacted that way, or, like, telling Missy, like, no, I didn't do it. I have proof.
Like...
And, like, yeah, like, I get it, like, because at that point, there was nothing that she could have done. So, yeah, like, keep your head held high and be like, I gotta go. But wouldn't you have the same reaction if, like, you're like, I know that, like, this is the truth. Like, if you strongly believe that something is fact and people are saying, like, no, you did this, like, you did that, and it's getting aired, like, everything's getting filmed, you don't know where that footage is going.
Because, like, obviously she really wanted it. Like, I would have fought tooth and nail to stay.
100%.
I would have fought so hard, and, like, I get it.
Because at that point, they're sending you home regardless, so at least, like, you've got to stand up for,
because you can't just be like, actually, I'm staying. Like, it's their call. You can't be like, well, I want to stay, so, like,
it's just,
like, hey,
just keep going.
How y'all doing?
Well, the arrival of Laura and Manon.
Okay, first of all,
intro.
the intro.
There you go. So good.
We need someone to be the strongest vocalist. Laura.
Vocal
one.
Also, her, like, prom dress and her sunglasses, just, like, her entire cut. I love
So
her.
good.
Laura with her gay best friend at prom. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
I also really, really liked, like, Manon's intro to it, too, because, like,
yeah.
you could see, like, she was, like, not, like, holding back on the fact that, like, she was less trained than the other girls, and she was just, like, approached, like, really randomly, and so she just, like, decided to, like, go for it, you know? And obviously they sent a trainer all the way to Switzerland to, like, train her out, and they obviously saw potential in her. And I loved seeing, like, her arrival and, like, seeing, like, what she was like with the group and stuff. But you could tell, like, the tension was, like, there from the very beginning.
It's
like, a lot of the time, like, when someone who is, like, very pretty or gorgeous enters a room, there is a certain air within, like, not even just, like, girls, it's, like, anyone in general, like, it's definitely, like, ooh.
Look at her, look at her, look at her.
You know? And then to see that, like, oh, she could have, like, really big potential of being in the group, knocking me out, of course you're going to feel a certain type of way about that.
I also loved, it was similar to the way that they brought in Laura. They were like, I saw her on Instagram, and then I instantly knew she was a star, and then just cuts it on like this. And then the episode ends, I was like,
Stunning.
Gorgeous.
I also just think, like, in that way, they kind of really set my girl up, because, like, you're bringing her in, like, you've sent a trainer to her to, like, help her before. You're bringing in this gorgeous, gorgeous girl who doesn't have, like, dance or singing experience, but then to bring her into this group that's been training for a year already, like, you'd have that thought, you know, why are they bringing her in? They must really like her, or, like, this is really high competition. Like, this is scary for me, because, like, I've been dancing my whole life, or I've been singing my whole life, and they're willing to bring her in who doesn't have that same experience. Like,
you can tell they're gonna put the effort and the time in to help her, but like to train her to become, which shows that they already like believe in her. And you're like, don't they believe in me?
And like, she's sitting here the whole time, God bless her, like, so honest about it, like, so down to earth about it. People just don't like her. That must have been so difficult for her to deal with, like, coming into that. That's, especially when everybody's already bestie tea.
To all your girls who've been friends for 2 years, pretty much, and you're just like, hello.
Same when they
It's
brought in, like, Nayoung and, like, Yoontae and Uwan and stuff, who, like, English isn't their first language.
And poor Hinari, 14 years old, and, like,
14.
so young. Hey! And then they cut her immediately. That's so sad.
But also, I wanted to say, like, the trainees that were like the top picks before people started being brought in. Adela was like a top pick, Megan was a top pick,
Emily.
Daniela was a top pick, Emily, Sophia wasn't even that high up like in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And like I want to say like when they started bringing the other girls in, like that must have really done something to them, because imagine like riding on top the whole time and being like pretty confident that you're going to be in the group, and then they just bring someone else in and then suddenly it's like, oh,
They just turn it upside down completely. Like, you know, if it's with a group of girls, like say you've been training with like 10 girls your whole life, and you know, out of 10 I'm like third, and then you like, I'm firm that I know that I'm better than like this person, whatever, and you know, like, okay, I know how these people all can perform, and then they just bring in like a tons of people. You're like, I don't even know how they can perform, I just met them, and then they rank you like immediately. You're like, what am I supposed to do?
It's like a mental roller coaster. I feel like we have to touch on the drama, but Henry's already made a 10-minute video about it, like he said, so we don't need to go super into it because you guys can go watch that.
Okay, nobody asked for them, but here are my thoughts on Popstar Academy.
I like get it from both sides, and I get why people are angry about it, but I feel like the conversations that's been had, or like people being like, I'm gonna unstan, or like these people are terrible people, it's like we're seeing such a small amount of what happened. We're only seeing what they've showed us. They never say exactly how many days of rehearsal Manon missed.
Yes.
They never say exactly. We know, like, she missed some of it because of COVID, which is a valid reason.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to get other people sick.
Yeah.
And she was probably having a terrible time too. But like other things like that, it was so vague. Like it could have been one day, it could have been 20 days.
Or them being like, Manon broke house rules and this and that and this and that. It was very like beating around a lot of like what actually went down. So like we don't even and we will never know because it was not our business. It was like an internal situational thing. We will never know about it.
Because especially like Naisha broke the rules.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got kicked out.
Yeah.
Manon was breaking the rules. Nothing happened.
And they moved her to her
That
own.
definitely does something to you. Because then you start realizing you're like, if they didn't want her, they would have kicked her out by now. But clearly they want her.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, oh, like she's probably a member of the chosen group, and like that's gonna make them feel like a type of way because remember, this is a group of basically teenagers.
Yeah.
This is a group of teenage girls.
I think they were all teenagers at that time.
Yeah, like fighting for their chance to like reach their dream basically. And so like that puts you in such a vulnerable position. And so like the way they're acting, it doesn't excuse like them ostracizing like Manon or like being mean to Manon or like side-eyeing her. But like, bro, like if I was 18 years old or 17 years old in that moment, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
I keep seeing comments that are like, oh, so they're young, so they get to bully someone. It's like, that's not the situation as far as I can tell. It seems like it was, from both sides, there was a lot of strong emotional reaction and feelings. People express their emotions differently. Like, some cutting words were said, but have you never been, like, very frustrated and said something out of turn because you were frustrated? And then you have it caught on camera, one thing you said in 2 years of situation, and it's aired, and everyone's like, everyone in this situation is so mean and so terrible. It's like, you don't even, and also, they're friends now. So, like, clearly they've worked through it and resolved it on their own. They even talked through it on the show. Manon, mature queen, sat them down and said, I heard you all been saying some stuff. Not even like, I'm going to call you out. I just want to talk about it because I want to work with you and I want to try my best.
Yeah. That was very mature. At the same time, like, they should have done that before with her too, but they could have. And we don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they don't show it. Like, they could have told her before, like, hey, we don't like that you're not showing up. Or they could have not and been talking about her behind her back the whole time, which, like, you shouldn't have done. Like,
she said she came to Sophia was like, she came to me, so she had been hearing, like, we don't like this, that. And she went to Sophia about it. And I'm sure Sophia was like, girl, well, you've not been coming.
But a big reason the girls didn't talk to her about it is because it wasn't a competition for a long time.
That's so true.
And the minute it turned into a competition, that's where the problem started because suddenly their jobs were on the line.
Yeah.
And because, like, if from their perspective that stuff is happening, it could just be like, oh, well, they'll probably send her home soon because she's not coming to rehearsal or, like, this, that, and the other thing.
And she wasn't getting sent home because the public loved her and, like, the company loved her too.
Yeah.
And one thing I want everyone to remember is people defending and saying that, like, Manon did nothing wrong. Manon, like, you know, like, they were just being mean for no reason. You have to remember Manon took accountability in the video. She said, I'm going to take accountability for missing rehearsals and I apologize for missing those rehearsals.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't just put her in jeopardy, it puts her team in jeopardy. Like, they can't rehearse with her.
Absolutely.
She apologized to them. And so, like, clearly there was something to apologize for, you know. I don't think she was getting gaslit completely by all of the girls.
She wasn't like, I'm not doing anything, you guys are being mean to me. She was like, I have made my own mistakes, but I really, she's like, but I really want to work hard and commit and be a a member of your team with you. Like, she said
And
that
she did.
verbatim.
You could see, like, from buttons to the end of the finale, like, she put in a lot
She
more
put
effort.
her
And the
pussy
judges
in
saw
it.
it too.
And that's the thing, like, she, like, I just don't think realized the level of commitment, and they
Yeah.
should have outlined that more clearly for
For sure.
her, like, definitely for all of the girls.
Yeah.
If you go into never having worked in dance, like,
Performing
singing,
at all.
performance, anything, or, like, you don't know that much about K-pop or, like, what it takes to be in that program, like, you don't know the commitment level that other people are expecting from you. And she even said that. She was like, I was treating this like school.
Yeah.
And if you're going to school and you have a really bad migraine, you're not going to show up. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to be like, Mom, I'm calling in sick today.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I, like, get that. I get where she's coming from. But then at the same time, like, the girls that were upset about it, and I feel like they showed, like, Sophia and, like, Laura and, like, Danielle, like, talking about it. If you're in that situation and somebody is like, I have, like, back pains, I'm not going to show up today. You're like, girl, I got back pains too.
Yeah.
And I'm here. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I get it from both perspectives, and they just needed to talk about it sooner. And eventually
Yeah.
they did talk about it, and they worked it out, and that's what matters.
And it doesn't mean that, like, them, like, cutting her side eye or, like, saying snappy comments, it doesn't make that okay.
no.
But again, it's like, have you never been frustrated and cut a glance to someone and then it's like, oh, I got caught on camera because I was in an emotional, sensitive,
Bro,
vulnerable
if
moment.
I had cameras on me at 17, the dirty looks I was giving left, right, and centre.
Yeah. Or just like talking to your friends and venting with your friends, and then
Bro,
that's suddenly
yeah.
cut into a
Also,
documentary.
Crazy! They filmed a psychologist therapy session
With
and
everybody
aired
there
it.
except for Manon,
Yeah.
too.
And aired it.
Crazy.
That was crazy.
That was messed up. It never should have been in a situation where they're all sitting with a therapist
With a
talking
camera
shit
in the
about
room.
one
If
girl that's
I
not
was
there.
Literally.
Yeah.
That's so shitty.
If I walked into therapy and saw a camera and a cameraman, I'd be like, I'm leaving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah, I'll
that.
journal
Fascinating.
instead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, the therapy itself was an incredible idea, but it
Yeah.
shouldn't have been like them all getting in a group together with a camera and a
Crazy,
therapist. Like,
crazy.
cut
100%
that out.
not. And they shouldn't have said her name in the, like,
Ugh.
don't, it just, like, dragged so much drama into it. Like, I'm frustrated with people. And she was like, Manon, it's like, cut that part out. Don't be mean to Manon. We, like, don't start
Yeah, let's not.
high, but cut the drama.
Yeah,
And the whole time, Manon handled it with a lot of grace.
Grace.
And that made me like her even more
for
because
sure. Yeah, to like turn up to the high building, walk in, and people are giving you dirty looks, and to not freak the fuck out and be like, you
Yeah.
guys are fucking bitches.
yeah.
Yeah.
Manon's, that's a strong girl right
Mhm.
there.
It's
you
not
know?
that hurts, right?
Moving on. Lexi leaving.
I give Lexi the biggest
Literally.
props for that. I think it's a whole complicated situation, but you could see, because Lexi was also there from the very beginning, and she was training very hard, and she honestly looked like a very strong candidate to be in the group. She probably
Honestly.
would have been in the group.
Mr. Bank PD.
Mr. Bank PD,
That
Lexi
was his
bias.
bias.
Lexi bias.
Lexi bias, yeah.
He cried himself to sleep the night that she
Yeah.
left.
Truly. Almost like she was us, seeing the decline of, like, the mental state of her 2-year-long friends and the program, the trust she built within her own program, watching it just be, like, shatter all over the floor, and her be like, I have no time for this emotional distress. I'm out. I don't like the way this is being run.
Like,
and so I'm out
amazing.
for my own, yeah.
And that's why
Love and
from
light to you, Lexi.
the beginning, they should have told them that it was going to result in a survival show. Because, like, it was very clear, like, she knew, like, this level of competition isn't for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's, my mental health is, like, in the trash right now because of what they're doing. And, like, because of how competitive it got. And she removed herself from that situation. But some people will just put themselves through it.
I would have put myself through it.
Yeah.
I wonder if they told them about the survival show initially, if more people would have left before. Because once you're already in that deep, you're like, well, I might as well just at least give it a try.
I know.
I wonder who would have left from that.
People like Marquis would not have done it.
Oh, yeah, because,
Yeah.
oh my god, our sweet, sweet soul Marquis.
She
Yeah.
who had zero screen
Also,
time in
Marquis
that
erasure.
documentary.
Yeah.
She was literally in it the entire time, and she had maybe like 2 sentences the whole
I
show.
had more screen time than Marquis.
That's true, and we
Like,
love you,
legit.
We literally, Marquis, if you're watching this,
Yeah.
I hope you are. We love you so much, Marquis.
Yeah.
You ate out and girls don't like.
Henry
Ugh.
said even like maybe she asked them like to cut her
Yeah.
scenes like to not be in the documentary. So yeah, to that point,
'Cause
like
she's-
maybe she never wanted to be in a survival
that's
show.
true.
Because she's very like offline, like she doesn't have an Instagram, she doesn't really have a presence online.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I genuinely don't think she would have wanted to be a survival show. She would much rather just have been like debuted as like a new person, you
Yeah.
know? So I thought that was really sad, but like honestly, like Ali said, like so strong for Lexi because especially the girls were told like you're being marked on your hard work, and then for it to be like, oh, but the public focus is probably gonna like push you like to be in the group. She's like, well, she's like got hip surgery, and then she's
Yeah.
like pushing herself to start back, and that could all be like diminished just because the public don't like you. I just feel I think it was the right decision for her, and I'm so glad like watching it back and seeing her be like given like an invite to the next round and her going and snatching it,
it
just like
away.
giving them a dirty look. Honestly, period, love her.
It like takes the control completely out of your own hands. You're like, no matter how hard I work, no matter what I improve upon, it doesn't matter. The public's gonna think what they think, and you can never control it, ever.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what the public are gonna like. Even the producers don't know. They kept saying like, you have thoughts of who you think's gonna do well, and then you never know, and it's totally different than what the producers thought was gonna be. Like, you have no way of knowing. So I get her being like, I'm not featuring this is not my fantasy. Goodbye.
A lot of the girls, if you were like following some of the girls who like saw them, even like in the documentary, as soon as they got the cut, that's when they were like, I don't want to be a part of this group, I don't like this. Lexi was the only one who made it through and stuck with that.
Yeah.
Which I like really appreciate.
Speaking of, I'm sorry, can we talk about Ilya for a second?
Bruh. Like,
Sophia's
Ilya,
not crying.
You voted me out.
yeah,
You voted me out.
You voted me out. It's crazy. Girl,
let me
like,
hear.
Ilya, like, love and light to you, girl. Like, I hope you're doing better, but like,
Savage.
that was crazy.
What was so insane about that to me is like her point, like I get it hurts more because only one person like chose her, but girl, you were asked the same question.
Only
and
5 out of all
you've
the
got
people.
more than 5 friends and you had to pick 2. So
Yeah.
like you
Also,
did the same thing.
This is not RuPaul's best friend race.
No, it's
okay?
not.
She's like, oh, like, I thought I was friends with more people than that. Yeah, you
are.
But like, they were asked to pick who they want in the group, okay?
Not who they want in their wedding party.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's tough.
You just have to, like, I genuinely feel like if I was there and I got no votes and I was, like, one of the lowest in, like,
You'd be like,
dancing or singing, like, I'd be like, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
that's fine, you know?
It doesn't mean that they're not their friends and they don't love
No,
you. Like
it's
they
still
love you
friends,
as a
but, like,
person,
yeah.
but like
Yeah.
they're thinking about so many other things.
Again, Ilya, fabulous singer, but it's not just about who's the best singer. It's like, if you see yourself in a group, like, who do you see standing beside you for, like, visuals, dance, talent, star quality, all the things all in one big package. And if 5 out of how many was it at that point? Like 20 or something like that? 16? Like, that's so few. And including you're the 6th. Like, that's so few.
Yeah, crazy.
You have to, it doesn't mean they don't think you're talented. It just means with that hard choice to make.
At least you weren't the absolute bottom girl.
I almost wish
guess.
they just showed the top, like, 3 most chosen and that was
Yeah.
it. Because that would have
I mean,
been
Period.
like...
Sophia, Daniela Samara. That was the top
Oh,
3.
yeah.
Yeah.
That whole situation, obviously, like, from the producers, like, that was shit to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking about, like, that shouldn't have happened.
Absolutely
And
not.
showing them, like, the amount of votes they
That's
got,
crazy.
that was shitty.
And
but, like,
someone said, I forget who it was, someone said, maybe Brooklyn, was like, when I said this, they told me this will not be aired. They said to them, this will not be aired, and then they
Which
aired
technically they're like,
it.
oh, we're not going to air you saying who.
Yeah.
But they still aired the numbers.
insane. And then them being like, we just wanted to create some drama.
You sure did, Mitra. Mitra,
With teenage girls.
When I catch you, Mitra.
when I get you,
Mitra, when I
Mitra.
catch you.
Seeing from, like, episode 1 how much Adela was, like, featured and how much the producers loved her versus I literally, this seems not like kind of mean to say, I literally didn't even remember her barely when I was watching Dream Academy because she left so soon.
Yeah.
By the time I watched her performance, she was already out.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, she's already out. Like that. And then watching this, how long she was there, how hard she worked, how talented she is, how much she was dedicated, how close they all were to her. Like, that all used to matter until the survival show. And then that was taken, again, out of her hands.
I really wonder, like I said, if they're gonna call her up and, like, ask her to be a soloist or something, if she's gonna get picked up by, like, Geffen or, like, some other company, I don't know. Because the way that they were editing it, like, they gave her so much screen time. Just showing her being a great person, like, helping them
Yeah,
learn the
genuinely,
choreography, like...
that woman was angel edited, you
yeah.
know? And like,
And
I don't doubt that like she was amazing and she was really helpful, but like to show that and then to show her being taken away, like it's just crazy.
Like, to give that much screen, she got probably more screen time than anyone that even actually made it into the group.
I
That's
genuinely
true.
think so,
More than, like,
yeah.
Daniela.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, one thing I really hated about it, and this is just from, like, Dream Academy airing too, but them saying, like, we want to take the emotion out of it, so we're gonna just do this AI screen. That was so mean.
Literally,
the
yeah.
eliminations.
First
Yeah.
one, too, was when it was like their photo, and then Brooklyn was like, am I through? Am
Oh
I
my
not
God.
through? I was like, you will not be getting an invitation. I was like,
Cause
oh!
she like
my
smart. She's like, am I
heart.
safe?
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
bro. And then everyone was like, I think you're safe.
Oh my
Bro.
God. Hateful.
What a psychotic thing to say. Like, we're gonna take all the emotion out of this survival show that's, like, really affecting people's
Your whole
lives.
life. Sam and Lexi was like,
Yes.
I live. She
Yeah.
said, I'm sick of this, Grandpa.
Episode 6, them going to Korea for the first time. I was surprised that they didn't show more of them.
Like us
when they
meeting
were
them
in
at Lotte
Korea.
World.
Yeah, oh my god, I was low-key hoping that would be in the documentary.
Yeah.
But, like, I do think it would have been really nice to, like, draw in more, like, Korean fans if they, like,
Mhm.
really leaned into, like, them in Korea and, like, that whole process, because, like, so much went on during that process, and, like...
They were
'cause
there for a month.
We even got to, like, watch the preparation vlogs for, like, when they got put in the groups and then when they were rehearsing, and I feel like we didn't really see that much in the documentary.
Yeah.
No. And then even in the vlogs they posted about it, I think they just like went to dinner and went to Lotte World. Like that's kind of largely it, unless you watch their own personal content. It's like people also love just watching Korea vlogs. I would have loved to see them there because I live here. I'm like, wow, where did you go? Did I go? Especially like I wish they kind of had some more of the K-pop fans because there was lots of girls in the group like that are K-pop fans, like Ezrella, Sophia. Them being at Hybe and training at Hybe, I'm sure that was the like highlight of their lives. I'm sure they had so much to say about it that was like brilliant and like so exciting. They didn't let them say a single word about it.
That's why it was so weird to me, because this whole time they're like, this is a pop group in the style, like training like a K-pop group, but it's not K-pop. But then they kept calling them K-pop.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
like
bringing them to Korea, but airing like barely any of the footage. It's just one kind of singular episode. I know out of 2 years they were only there for a month, but they just kept bringing up the K-pop, and then they didn't really show much of them being kind of in that environment.
Also, come back to Korea, Katai.
Yes,
So we can
please.
see you.
you can stay at my house.
Yeah.
Invite us to your Korean debut.
Yeah. Seriously.
Seriously. That brings us to the finale episode.
Oh my god, guys, I
Emily.
was sobbing watching this. Like, we literally just watched this just now, and it was so sad because the girls made such a huge connection with each other. Some more than others, especially. Like, I'm talking more so about, like, Emily, who, like...
From the beginning.
You can tell, like, all the girls loved Emily, and she was super strong. To see her, like, manifesting so hard, it really did just come down to, like, the public vote. Like, the public vote in the live show, she got the least amount.
That breaks my heart.
Which is
she's
so
so
sad.
talented.
Yeah.
And she wanted it so bad, and she was there from the very beginning, and she tried. Like, she put so much effort and her whole heart into it. It, like, broke my little heart to watch her, like, Adela holding her and her being like... I was like...
What killed me, too, is, like, the main reason that people didn't like her was her visuals. And what a terrible thing.
And she's
to
so
say
cute.
also. She's so gorgeous. She's so beautiful. She's so cute.
Yeah.
And, like, that's something that must be so difficult because... you can't change that.
Yeah.
Like, she was working so hard at singing. Like, she was an amazing dancer. She was working so hard on performance. But, like, if people literally are just like, I don't like the way you look. Or, like, oh,
You're like-
I didn't like that you said y'all. Like,
Yeah.
just, like,
Sorry, I'm from Texas, loser.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
just, like,
god.
making fun of her for things that don't even matter and that just aren't true. Like, she was so sweet, like, so
Yeah.
gorgeous. And she was working so hard. And she just, like,
She's
people
the
just didn't care.
Yeah.
team player as
The
well.
minute they went public too, like, that was when her confidence started to dip because she started getting all those comments, and she was very verbal saying that, like, she was constantly reading those comments, which makes me really glad that when we went to Lotte World, because she was my top pick,
Hannah
like,
was the number one Emily stan.
from the first
the
mission,
art
she was my
film.
top pick, and I loved Emily. And so, like, when I was there, I was like, oh my god, like, where's Emily? Like, to all the girls, and they, like, pushed her to the front, and I was like, Emily, I love you, you better debut. And the happiness
you
on
saw
her face
it.
was so, like, she was, like, couldn't believe
She
it.
was
And
like,
all the girls were like, oh my god, like, look.
It was so cute.
So it makes me so glad that, like, I did that, because, like, to let her know, like, people are rooting for you, girl, like...
And like you didn't even know that she was getting hate because
No.
like we hadn't watched any of it yet. Really, we just like
Yeah.
you just said, "Where's Emily?" And
Yeah.
it was so cute. She was like so pocket sized.
Like, hearing that and, like, knowing, like, she had that whole manifestation journal.
Yeah.
Like, probably meant so much to her. Also,
God.
it made me really sad, I feel like, watching all of that back for Ezrella, because
yes,
you could really see, like, when they brought Laura in, like, her confidence
like,
just plummeted because she knew that they wouldn't put both of them in the group.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like everybody kind of knew that, and it sucks because, like I said, it's a thing that you can't change.
Yeah.
Like, you can work on your dancing, singing, everything, but that was just about who they
Who you
are.
are.
That's so shitty. And just to know, like, oh, she's got amazing vocals. Oh, they love her so much. Like, they brought her in for a reason. Like, all you're doing is comparing yourself. And
Yeah.
people were
Yeah.
comparing them too when the public vote opened.
100%.
Yeah.
And she just still had to be there like until the final episode, just knowing like in her heart that she wasn't gonna make it, but still hoping for it anyways.
But I loved what she said when she was like, my dream is to have Indian representation, even if it's not me. I know it's okay because I know Lara's there. Like,
beautiful.
what a beautiful thing to say. Like, supporting not only other women, but just like your own community. Like, Azrella, I love you, queen. And Jean Icon. I think she's a Jake stan.
And it was so annoying because, like, if you watch the live reaction that me and Ali did, like,
loved Azrella
the minute, finale. Like, because, like, Azrella was like a middle rider for me, but like as soon as you watch the final
Dirty
episode,
Water Azrella,
she was so good, bro. So I think the finale, honestly, especially like the episode in general, I wish they put some footage about like them debuting or like what it was like to like find out like the songs that they were gonna do and the like concepts they were gonna do. Like, I know this is just about the survival show, but, like, it would have been nice to see, like, the build-up and then, like, suddenly when they debut and stuff.
That's what I'm sure they're gonna put out another documentary that's, like, Cat's Eye focused.
Sure.
I would like
this
it.
is more, obviously, even the title's, like, Popstar Academy. Like, it was about the process beforehand. But because they've just put out their first album, they probably want to film more footage before they release it.
To sum up the entire documentary, which is very difficult,
Yeah.
I think the overwhelming feeling I feel is like so proud of all the girls, not just Cat's Eye,
all the girls,
like everything they went through. I really want to stress and everyone to realize this is something only they have gone through and only they could have gone through. You have not experienced it. Like 2 years of your life to go through that shit is like
at such a young age, like leaving school to go do it, like giving up so much of their own lives, moving across the world, across the country, XYZ, like giving everything to be in this.
And you're only seeing 8 hours of it.
For sure.
Of 2 years of their
2
life.
years of
So
constant
watch your
rehearsals,
mouth.
bonding together. Like, it is amazing. And like an extension to the Cat's Eye girls. Like, I'm so proud of like where they've come from and like you know, like a special shout out to Manon because like you really have seen her improvement tenfold since like the show. And, like, it makes me so excited. Even like Megan's voice since the show too, like has gotten so amazing. And I will say, I know the documentary people are saying it was a big mistake, they shouldn't put it out. Yo, I've got friends at home who
everyone's talking about it.
Nothing about K-pop who are messaging me like, oh my god, like I'm seeing this documentary, like it's really cool.
That's all anyone's talking
Honestly, like, Cat's Eye, they're like famous. You're so famous. I love you.
Famous.
They're gonna be famous.
Pretty famous.
Yeah, and if I have anything to do with it, you will be famous.
Oh, and we apparently do because we're in the documentary.
Yep.
And then y'all do it at Henry's TikTok.
Bring them to Korea and invite us. Bring Yuntae home. Bring them to
Bring
Korea.
Yuntae home.
Let them promote here,
Yeah.
please.
Sound off below what you thought about the documentary.
What was your favorite episode? What was your best part? And what is something that pissed you off? Let us know in the comments.
Let's talk about it, yeah. And like, if you want to have like a more in-depth kind of thought process of like the whole Manon like situation with like the other girls, go to my TikTok and check out my video because a lot of people are discussing in the chat. It's interesting to see other people's thoughts.
My like little last thing is just like when you're commenting about it, I really encourage you to think critically about everything because we only know such a select thing. Do you think people want hate being spread in their own name?
Yeah.
Surely not.
Because you can see in the documentary they're checking.
Yeah.
Like my girls are checking. They know.
Yeah.
So.
Just like you only know what you know, which is basically nothing.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. I can't wait to see what they do next.
We love you.
And if you guys are watching, we are covering Touch full dance cover
Oh my
with
gosh, yeah.
6 members.
Yes!
So be sure to check that out.
I'm
if you haven't
Megan!
seen it. Yeah.
I'm Daniela. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in to like this whole Dream Academy series and like tune into some more Cat's Eye stuff.
Yeah, I was like, it's been a long ride.
Yeah, it has.
We've only been since the very beginning.
It's only just begun.
Period.
So true.
Oh, we.
Okay, bye.
Love you.